Hello everybody, welcome to another Kerfuffle webinar, and I am delighted to have with me today the guys from CCT. Gordon, Christian, how the devil have you, sirs? You okay?
Yeah, good. Yourself?
Excellent, excellent. You didn't get the memo, did you, Gordon? Where's the cap?
Yeah, no, that's this full head of hair. I just wanted to show it off, you know what I mean?
Were you caught between, do I wear the Kerfuffle one or do I wear the C? Was it just split loyalties? You didn't know what to do?
That's exactly it. I wasn't sure which one to wear.
Excellent. And how are you, Christian? You okay?
I'm very good, thank you. Still COVID-free, so
well, that's
a positive.
Small mercies. That's exactly right. Okay, really good. And you're joining us from sunny Scandinavia, I believe, today.
Yes, I am in Sweden right now. Escaped from the US where I used to live. So,
actually, no. I was going to say if there was a time to get out of America, it was a few weeks back. But hopefully, it looks like being a bit more sensible about it again now. Anyway, let's not let this descend into a political conversation because I'll go off for, as you know, hours and days. Guys, I know about you but I want you to talk to me today as if obviously we're introducing you to many of the people here won't know about CCT. So, you know, proper Janet and John stuff there. Don't feel that I know anything because I think it's such a big subject. Sometimes we can assume that everybody knows, don't we? And in that way, they'll probably miss out on some of the key elements of what your service is all about. And I think it's just such a vitally important area. Facebook being the absolute dominant beast that it is, many agents will be absolutely starkly aware of the audience that is there and what can be achieved. I think it's fair to say many of them are dabbling at it at the moment, but you guys have systematically thought about a way to leverage and get best ROI, I think is probably the simplest way, isn't it, from that particular platform?
Yeah, for sure.
Good. So today's title is just very succinctly, how to get the best from social media for the real estate market. So talk us just through, if you don't mind, again, I don't know if you want to just do Christian. It is a Scandinavian country. I think it was 2012 you were formed. So
yeah, even 2011 even, but
okay.
yeah.
So really important to point out that although you're relatively new to the UK marketplace, actually this is a company that's been bred and built on and is way beyond minimum viable product stage. This is a very mature product delivering for many other agents around the world, isn't it?
Yeah, we are actually now working and having clients in 18 different countries worldwide. So we are in quite a few parts of the world: Asia, Australia, US, Europe. And you know, the strong position we have, especially in the Scandinavian market where it all started, has helped us, you know, grow throughout the world. And I think that, you know, quality in the technology is the utmost importance these days, because there's been a hell of a lot of products out there which claiming the same things. And but we have, as you said, been working, you know, pretty steadily since 2011. Long before even Facebook and the social media was such a powerhouse that it is today. You know, the only thing we wanted is to enable agents and the industry itself to utilize as much as the technology out there as possible in a very simple way and get, you know, results based on it. You know, without results, we are worth zero, zip, nothing. So we are, you know, our existence is basically that we deliver every day, every campaign, and, you know, for every client. And
the wonderful thing there, Christian, is, you know, many businesses are results based, but by definition is the wonderful thing about your solution is you happily just have to stand behind those figures, don't you? And it's not like many of the services, and dare I say it, a lot of the marketing services before they became digitized, you know, it was pretty much a finger in the air, wasn't it, as to whether it was working. Now you can really track almost down to last pound and penny, can't you, where your investment is going?
That's spot on. And, you know, I'm formerly in the traditional marketing space. And, you know, every time it didn't work, we just say it's going to work in the long run. So just keep patient. And we didn't really know, right? But these days, we are up for exams more or less every minute of the campaign. And if it doesn't work, it's transparent. Everybody can see it doesn't work. But if it do work, it really can change businesses and change, you know, everything around how to do it. And it is about time that some kind of disruptive technology is entering the space of real estate, to be honest.
So give us the sort of elevator pitch then, what the core proposition from CCT is in terms of the service it provides for agents on obviously on Facebook and social media.
If I'm going to answer that, I'm going to do it super simple. It is about finding the right buyer with the right message for the right amount of money spent. So it's all about timing, it's all about targeting, it's all about precision, and utilizing the vast, intelligence and the advanced, technology that is in the platforms like in Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever. It is about utilizing that and having as low threshold as possible to use it, because we know that if it's not easy to use, it won't be used.
Yeah.
So they need to be very, very simplified. And that's part of our DNA, is to be within the ecosystem that the agents are working in already and be an implemented part of that. And that makes it, usable and also used. So it is about, getting them as much as you can, capitalize the ROI as much as you can by your pound spent in marketing, really.
Okay, great. So, and why do you think that social and digital is so important to agents?
I'm not going to take over for the Scottish guy, but I'm just having one comment on this, and that's, during this pandemic, it's been quite obvious how important, the digital space is. We're all sitting at home, somebody with, kitchen cabinets behind them and some with treadmills. And it's, it is what it is, and people are more and more digital, and we are using more and more time on the digital space. But that is also offering some big, big challenges, because there's a lot of shitty products out there. Mm. And if you do this in the wrong way, you are damaging more than you are gaining. And I think that, people need to be aware of that, because it's so, so important that while the digital space is getting more and more, important, it's so important that you really have a good tech supporting what you are trying to say and how you're trying to reach people. So I think that, honestly, I'm not going to be a little bit, any disrespectful of the industry, but I think that during the last 20 years, the industry itself has given away their power. They've given it away to portals. Mm-hmm. They are taking really the piss out of them, because they're collecting the data, and then they are, invoicing them, high numbers of money to have a website with those data on, which they own. So inventory that they were supposed to empower and use themselves, the industry is just given away, and they're giving away for free. And at the other end, having to pay to use those kind of data. We're trying to change that all around, empower the agents, empower the businesses to keep their own data, and try to be as precise and targeted as possible towards existing clients, potential clients, and the whole market as itself. And I think it's it's forcing itself a little bit now, because we're always talking about the new generations, but people are always now expecting to get things more or less served on the silver platter, and based on their behavior, based on their interest and everything like that digitally. And they are not going as often as we saw previously into the portal, doing the work themselves, and literally using a technology from back in the 90s. Or late 90s. It hasn't changed much, and I think that change is the turning point of the digital era. And I think that the before it was good enough for companies just to have a technology. Now I think the decision is to have a technology that really works, and that's, I think, where we are. And based on, as you said, we are a pretty mature company, almost running 10 years now in this space. And having AI, which you do have, and not just claiming to say we do have it, that is a big, big difference to the results. That's why people are pretty astonished over the results we are getting to them, or giving them. But at the same time, it's difficult to explain that before they really try it. And as you Englishman says, they need to see the proof in the pudding. Yeah. And that's what we are out there for now, getting more people in the UK to try this, assess it for themselves.
Yeah.
No pressure, no sales pitch. Just try it out, see what you gain out of it. If you're happy, continue with us. If you're not happy, ask it to piss off. Is it easy as that?
Well, obviously, you're
And
looking at a man who knows, who's had experience of far too much pudding as well here. But the one thing, I mean, when I understood this in terms of obviously the way that you present the adverts back to people, and there was a moment where I understood the way that your AI works in terms of continually looking for like-minded audiences and which advert is the right one. It struck me that it was like a benign Cambridge Analytica, trying to do the right thing in terms of using that machine learning essentially to present exactly the right advert for the right audience, and because of that, you're getting higher click-through rates. And my understanding is that if you are more relevant, then your pricing for adverts on Facebook drops, doesn't it? So it's just win-win-win, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think, Simon, so on that piece about the importance of digital, it gives the agents that we work with, it empowers them to speak to the right people, like you said, because everyone is on social media now in one form or another. In the UK, the average user is spending 2.5 hours a day on social, right? So there's a great opportunity for us to speak to them. And the thing is, when people are using social, they're actually logged into the platforms themselves. So by using our AI to interrogate that in real time on a minute by minute basis, we can ensure we are targeting, because we know who they are, the people that are most relevant to that particular message. So we ensure that the pound spent is being maximised at every opportunity.
Yeah, that's a fascinating angle for it, and so that's one of the key elements where you're different, isn't it? Are there any other distinct areas where you differ from these other players? Because I mean, I think you're quite right. A lot of people have seen, they've been attracted to the dare I say, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow that Facebook potentially offers up, but they've often found the wrong partner, or they've, like many times, if you don't have the expertise yourself, yeah, you're gonna have a pretty poor experience, and unfortunately, that's left people disillusioned with it, isn't it? And that's it's a really difficult thing to try and then get them engaged again, isn't it? Because they feel like they've given it a go, and for whatever reason, it's not worked right for them.
Yeah, it's about the tools then to do the job, right? So,
but I think that, Simon, is so completely spot on, because they are so disappointed of the performance using the wrong technologies. I won't even call them technologies, but wrong solutions, and then they are losing belief and faith in the channels itself. Yeah. And it's not the channel's fault. It's about the technology and the tools that you are using. And that's why, even Facebook had a benchmarking test with us, and we were measured to utilize 96.7% of their 100% potential based on the data points and such. And our competitors are struggling to, cross the 5% line. So it's like two different worlds. But to be super honest with you, our challenge up until now, we have had, we are working in 18 countries, so it's not that it's a failure, but our challenge is always about trying to explain such an advanced technology in a layman way so people understand it and don't fall off and don't, this algorithm thing and those AI, okay, I've listened to you, blah, blah, blah. Everybody else says the same thing. That you guys, they claim they have the same thing, and they are honestly not able to assess if they have. So they are always then, and not always, but some people are then choosing a cheap way out, and just, so they can tell the clients that they have something. Nevertheless, don't bother with if it's working or not, but okay, we have something. But what they are forgetting in that picture is that it's not working. That's the least problem you have. But what kind of damage it can do to a brand that you have tried to build up through years and sometimes centuries. It is about, having unqualified, untargeted communication to people that get annoyed and feel like this is spamming them. That is the most important, danger they have. Not that it's not working and that they're throwing out the pound bills out the window. That's the small part of it. Yeah. And, some of these technologies, I would rather rent the helicopter, drop £100 bills with a phone number on it. And I think that will give them better ROI than using some kind of these technologies. That would at least be pretty fun.
That's basically the kerfuffle model. So thanks for. I think that's really important, and yet it needs to be said straight up. You are a Facebook partner, aren't you? So you do work closely with them to obviously leverage the best. So it's not like you're working cleverly in the background. You're working hand in glove with their experts to make sure that they, that your clients will ultimately benefit.
Absolutely, and for us, it's more or less an hygiene factor to it, because we need to do, that's like, of course we are, but it's not a sales argument for us, because we take that as a, granted that we are in that level. But I also think that, it is about, people just being open, trying out stuff and trying us. And we do this for, being a member of the Kerfuffle family. We will, of course, try to make things happen for them. Yes. And this ain't supposed to cost them a shitload of money to assess it. It's about testing it out, see if it works, and then, making it a part of their ecosystem. And I think that is, we also, in our little bit of a retrospective, we need to see that we've been more into how advanced we're building the technology than we were into how to communicate it. So it has been a little bit gap that we're trying now to solve. So the last few months during, this horrific pandemic times, we've been focusing extremely on developing new tools, solutions, and features that are gaining the agents in their everyday life and make it a lot easier to work. So now, literally, instead of using like 2-3 minutes and ordering a campaign, is literally a click of a button, and you can even get it fully automated. We also do deliver different feature products, like, how to utilize the data you're getting, how you can present that to potential new vendors, how you can win those listings, how you can really grow your business and your revenue. So, our slogan is AI for growing your business. It's all about joining our clients in the journey of growing. And if we are not, together with those clients and growing with them, I think that we are not doing our job. Yeah. And it's combining the big, strong craftsmanship that it is to be an agent, free time that the agent can do what it's best to do, talk to clients and negotiate and use the skill set that they have, and forget about the technology part. And we will bring, clients into the shop, and then they can have, every ounce of energy they can use that on handling the clients the best. So that's where we are today. So we also need to see that we can do things better, and I think we have done that quite a bit now the last 6-7 months in order to.
Well, certainly, I mean, what you were saying, Christian, you and Gordon kindly shared me a couple of the case studies that are literally hot off the press today that you've done with I know, look, you've been kind enough, we can't say who they are because we're just signing off on the name for the public release, but in terms of the stats are all agreed and everything else there, and I know the businesses, and they are heavyweight businesses, and the stats, which we'll come to a bit later on, are literally eye-watering. I think I understand your issue. It's something we come across very often here. It's why so many businesses kind of remain industry's best kept secret, if that makes sense, because it does take a certain amount of a mini gamble to if you can't immediately get something, well, how do you ever get on the bus, really, don't you? So our friend Mr. Trump, who we were alluding to earlier, he had a habit for making the incredibly complex incredibly simple. Now he did it for a very different purpose. But what I love now is, whereas it still felt quite difficult to explain elements of what you did, those stats that we'll come to, those KPIs, they scream out to come and talk to these guys, and they will explain how they can get on and at least test the water very cheaply and cost effectively.
Yeah.
Okay. So why do you think agents should ensure they future-proof their businesses in obviously today's changing market?
I think agents, as Christian alluded to, they don't want to be just relying on the portals and newspaper ads and all these kind of things that they can't really measure the success of, because it's not driving traffic directly to their own domain. They want to do that, and global businesses are recognizing that social is an incredibly important part if done correctly. And in fact, a third of all marketing spend next year will be on social from global businesses. So that tells you that this is a way to do it. And if you do it in the right manner and use these types of campaigns and analyze the data, understand what you've got, you can then use that to serve out to potential vendors that may be interested in working with you. I know we've talked heavily on helping sell properties, but attracting those vendors and having a pipeline of opportunity, because you're managing the marketing that's going out, and that pipeline of opportunity will serve you over the next 6 to 9 months to help you develop your business. And by doing that, they've got a clear path of how they can increase engagement and interaction with people at a local level for each of the branches. And that's what this also does. It gets away from the single central marketing piece that a lot of businesses fall into, and it actually digitally empowers the local offices to talk to the people in their patch that they should be speaking to.
Great. And what should they, I mean, how do they get the ball? Where should they start? Because that's, again, one of the big difficulties here, isn't it? Is where, what I love is talking to some of your clients, as we have done, is, the first thing that comes back is, I wish we'd done this ages ago. But how do you get that ball rolling?
It is literally, I'm just going to try to fill in a little bit for Gordon there. It's literally about contacting us, having a meeting, and also we have lowered the threshold for implementation. It's not like we are expecting the clients to do a shitload of work to get them to be clients of us. We do all the work. We need a few contact points. We need a few datas they have, but that is done within minutes. And then we do everything during the implementation part of it. And we do everything for free. So we set it up for them, so they can just plug and play, really. So we are the guys that come and, install the TV like behind you. And you don't have to lift a finger. That is important for us. And also what, Gordon talked about, data. That is kind of a word that is a little bit intimidating, to be honest, for many people, because they're thinking, oh, data, when he's talking about, advanced stuff. And I'm not, disrespecting, but if you're not working with technology 24/7, it is about, trying to normalize those terms, to put it that way, right? And that's semantics. Those data, we serve them to them on a silver platter, live, real-time data. We collect them to them. They only need to say what kind of data in the structure, and then we will definitely just deliver it to them. So I just want to emphasize that, when Gordon says take usage of the data to attract new vendors, attract, have, more knowledge, going from thinking, believing to knowing. It is about, we are serving them that on a silver platter, literally.
And Christian, it's that point, isn't it? It's that really genuinely exciting element where data becomes actionable information, useful information that you can make business decisions on, and all that good stuff about driving leads and being able to do, all you need to worry then about is the message, isn't it? And how you actually deliver that.
Exactly as you say, they get, everything they can dream about in their toolbox, even for a individual meeting. Let's say we have a client in, I don't know, Manchester, where you live or whatever, and they're going to, I'm just pretending now, making up, Harrow Street 1 to meet a vendor, and they have scheduled a appointment meeting Mr. and Mr. Jameson at 2 p.m. Then they can just email us the address or just click the address within their own ecosystem. Within 15 minutes, they will get an individualized presentation for Harrow Street 1, where they will see the whole property from a Google perspective, mapping down, seeing that exact property, seeing relevant campaigns in the immediate area, seeing what they can AI-based, what they can expect of a campaign, run by the real estate agency through CCT, the CCT platform, how many potential buyers there are in the area interested in exactly that kind of property, blah, 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 blah. We do, and we just deliver it to them, individualized. So when the agent sits with Mr. and Mrs. Jameson, Harrow Street 1, they think that he's been using 10 hours just to get all that data collected and being able to present it to them. So they will feel, thankful, they will feel grateful for, all the hard work done behind them, and they will feel a big sense of security that this is the right choice for them, because we will solely show them, if you are just going to portals, if you're using somebody else, then it's more or less impossible to reach that potential list of buyers. Yeah. And what we always do is activate the potential or the whole market as itself. So that you need to have, if you're not using the CCT platform, you will miss out. And we are cross-market now, I'm just saying this, delivering between 75 to 85% of all traffic per property in the campaign period. So that means all the portals are representing between 15 and 20% of the traffic, including all organic search and everything like that. So the vast majority of the traffic within every one of our clients is from us. And that is, you won't miss out. You won't let go of 8 of 10 clients, would you? I'll keep those 2 and hope to sell for a good price. And I don't care about the other 8, right? Nobody in their state of mind would do such a thing. And that's what we can deliver. And that's what we always also are showing our clients, that this is so how important this is. So it is about engaging a broader audience, and it's about utilizing those data, which can seem a little complicated, that is served directly from us without literally lifting a hand, other than just typing in the address.
I think that's absolutely right. And just a final point, Simon, and what Christian's saying. If you want to move, you can go on to Kerfuffle Estates, and you can go into the portals every Thursday. You can draw your diagram and say, this is exactly where I want to live, and you can put in the budget you've got. I want to spend £750,000. But what the technology does using that data is based on predictions and probabilities. It will serve you something at £765,000, a quarter of a mile outside of your area, that you would never have seen before. So it's using that to then serve the right message to the right person at the right time. And that can attract those 1 or 2 extra interested parties to come and see the property, and allow you then, as the agency, to sell it at best possible price in the quickest possible time. And by looking at the people that are obviously looking to move right now, and also that passive audience that's displaying a similar type of behaviour, we're ensuring that happens.
Excellent. And in practice, how are agents utilising social media to deliver those results? We've got a couple of case studies, obviously, that I'm gonna jump into in detail, but just how are other agents doing it with yourselves?
We have what we call a circle of success. Yeah. And that is, started out with a sales campaign, or a campaign to sell the property, right? That property gains interest, and I'm not, if this political correct or not, I don't know, but political correctness is just lack of self-confidence. So let's keep that out. But it is about, you can do marketing or surveys or whatever, and people would have different answers. But everybody who's going to sell a property, most and foremost, they want to have the highest price possible for that property. I think that's pretty given. Yep. You won't, and it's like hygienical factors around it, like it's going to be safe, secure, done in a professional manner, and so. But that's not the most important thing. That's just part of it, right? But getting the highest price is very important. So increasing the market, being more precise, talking to the right people with the right message to the right time. It is about selling that property faster for a better price. Doing so, we are collecting those data, as Gordon says, and then we go to the next phase of the circle of success. It is about getting leads, new vendors, And it's a very simple logic. It is like, if you are engaging digitally in looking at a property and even going to a open house or whatever meeting that's possible these days, but if you are really interested in that property, you also most likely, not in every case, but most likely you have your own property to sell, or it's more likely you have an own property to sell than if you are not engaging in properties. So then we are remarketing on all those data to get more valid leads, to get more interest to that exact agent or that agency or that office or whatever we set it up. And then getting those leads, getting those scheduled appointments, and then we are serving them with a new product called, for the end of the circle of success, seal the deal. And that is exactly where we're serving individualized information on that exact property that you're having that vendor to talk to get the listing, and then back again to the sales. So everything is like a very hard ecosystem that are trying to get the most out of everything.
But like a virtuous circle, or reinforcing
Yeah.
each element. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay, and we were going to talk about obviously some of these actual, some of the results you were getting, and as I said, you've kindly shared with us today these case studies. I think it's fair to say these are both multi-office agencies, aren't they?
They are indeed.
The first ones we'll deal with, if it's all right, and if it's okay, what I'd like to just do is kind of pick out elements, some of the things that just, were obviously very impressive in here, and then we'll talk through about kind of how you're achieving that on a simpler level, because I think that really will bring it to life.
Yeah.
The first case study I think is quite nice because it focuses on almost the benefits that individual agency has got, whereas I think the second case study looks at it almost on a macro scale, doesn't it, in terms of the benefits there. So I understand that's why you've kind of done it. So this first one here is the first thing that jumps out to me, is that this agency saw an increase in traffic, web traffic, of 138%. So is that simply a result of the increased levels of essentially advertising, driving people back to the agent's own website? Is there anything else, or is it as simple as that?
No, it's about the targeting. It's just about the targeting that we're doing. If you are doing these social media campaigns and you're doing it the way we've just described, highly targeted, highly effective, and you're serving it to the right people, then they will be interested to engage with you, and they will come into your domain and start that engagement. And the relevance factor is crucial, because when you do social media ads, the average for our industry is a 0.98% click-through rate, so close to that 1% that people want to get to when they're marketing something. But over literally hundreds of thousands of campaigns in the UK, CCT's average in the UK is around 15%. So we're more than 15 times better by doing it this way, and by using technology to ensure that we're targeting the right people that deliver the right traffic to the site. And obviously that helps in every way, Simon, because it helps their site optimization, it helps all of that kind of Google stuff as well, because it's reading the site and seeing there is lots of relevant traffic and lots of engagement now happening on this particular domain.
That's great. And the next thing that leads on from that, again, isn't it, because it's built up there, is that these guys saw an increase of 8% in the number of viewings booked. And I'm assuming these are all kind of weighted against seasonality and things like that. This is really a proper increase in terms of the time of year and everything else.
Yeah, it's they're looking at month on month from before they used it to and the number of properties that they're doing were exactly the same, and they could see an increase of on average 8%, and actually some months it was beyond 8% and above 10%. So if they're doing a lot of campaigns, and if the vendors that they're working with actually are instructing them to put those campaigns out there, they are literally seeing an effect on the number of contacts they're receiving from potentially interested parties, and the number of phone calls that they're actually receiving in the branches.
Okay, great. Okay, and then there was the one here which it helped increase the price of the average property listed by 12%. Just explain to us that strikes me as obviously those are big figures. Again, how's that being supported by CCT?
Well, the client were asking us to expand the market that they were currently in. So they had a core market. We started to target houses that were just slightly above that, ones as well that they perhaps were losing because they were competing against other higher end agencies and they couldn't actually close those deals. But when they could go in and say, you know, we're using this leading technology that our competitors aren't, that will expose you to, you know, 3 times more relevant people that should be viewing your property. We can increase the viewings by 8%, and actually we're selling the properties using this by up to 31% faster. And that's back to Christian's point. When you ask the vendor what they want, generally the answer is, I want you to sell the property fast and I want you to sell it at the best price you can. And that was allowing them to win much more of those high-end properties than they were previously, and resulting in a 12% increase in the average sale price.
And I'm guessing, look, there's going to be a demographic, as it's obviously so varied out there by definition, who are, you know, where the agent tries to impress upon them you know, all of these fantastic tools, they're going to shrug their shoulders because they're that kind of, you know, Facebook, well, you know, will that really help? But that you can't really do much about them anyway at the best of times. But I'm guessing for that more educated demographic that actually realise the effect of it and can see the benefit, this is going to be like music to their ears, isn't it?
100%. I mean, both from the agency side and the vendor side, because if you've put those ads in front of a potential vendor or potential buyer even, and they can actually see, wow, that's really interesting. It's exactly where I would be looking when I want to move. It's exactly the type of property and price range that I'm going to be interested in. They've found me and served this to me without me having to look for it. Gosh, if I'm going to sell my property, I should be speaking to these people. They should be in the conversation. So again, it just is music to their ears when they hear it's that effective.
And you mentioned there, obviously, there's the best price angle here, but the key one as well, one of the key elements, obviously, you know, selling their home quicker is top of everyone's agenda. And with this particular case study, it said it helps sell on their properties on average 10% faster than the national average, and up to 31% faster with CCT. So that's the actual spectrum. The average is 10%, but sometimes as high as 31% faster as well.
It is indeed. It is indeed. So, you know, if they're taking 10 weeks to shift the property on average, we'll shift it in 9, and we can shift it in some cases in 6 or 7 weeks. So, you know, it allows people to have the confidence when those stats are put out across a number of properties and a number of campaigns for that particular client over a year, that by using this, they give themselves the best chance of selling fast at best price.
And then last, but by no means the least important, in fact, potentially could be the most one, it helped deliver an increase in average commissions received by 22%. So that I think they said in there, the combination of higher property prices and the commission increase. How was it just simply on that? You know, that is a result of that. What was it, 12% or whatever it was before, or is that also because the vendors feel so comfortable with the agents as well that they don't try and, you know, they don't have to put as many fee defenders in there as ordinarily they might have done? Yeah,
everyone loves to negotiate, Simon. You're one of the best at it, right? You do it all the time. That's natural. But what they were seeing is that because they were offering this as something completely different, they were saying that's the fee that we charge. And when people were trying to negotiate it, they were saying, okay, well, if you don't want to pay that, then you don't get this. So we can take the fee down slightly, but you're not going to get this amazing add-on that can really boost your chances of the result that you want. And people weren't fighting on that yet. You know what? With all of the detail that you've given me, I feel that this is going to be useful for me. Let's do it.
And Australia, where you've obviously got a strong base over there as well, they're very well known for their vendor paid advertising, you know, much higher than over here, and they will charge for all elements. I mean, I know it will definitely be the case that the agents there charge much of this, or indeed all of this, back to the vendors over there. Are we seeing the same over here? Is that something that UK agents are able to do, or are they tending to include it as part of the package?
It's a mixed bag. Some include it as part of the package, but I would say the majority of the agents that we work with actually charge the vendor for it. So they, in some way, so the vendors are paying some sort of fee to run these campaigns. Those fees are really small, so the number of vendors that actually want to do it is pretty high. And what happens is the traffic, the volume, the inquiries, the viewings all go up, and actually largely the vendor's paying for it, and the agents are getting all of this additional value from that.
Well, it's wonderful, because actually what you're getting is there's that favourite phrase, boards breed broads, but boards breed broads rather. And what you're talking about here is advertising builds your brand. And here's the wonderful thing: to a large degree, the vendors are actually helping boost that. So it's a real win-win there from the agent's perspective, isn't it?
In some markets, you are saying about talking about Australia, but also in other markets, this is a part of, you know, revenue growth for the agents. This is, you know, this is because you lost a lot of things in most markets due to the lack of using newspapers, right? Because you were getting refund, or you made money on advertising your own brand and getting the vendors to pay for it. This is more or less, you know, taking that back also, but at the same level. It is as long as it works as good as it do, the vendor are happy with it, and you can do it in a transparent way. You don't have to cheat about it and try to hide it in any way, because it makes such a vast difference for the vendor. So they're happy. So, you know, they won't, you know, quarrel about, you know, a couple of £100 in commission, when they know that using this, I can get tens of thousands of pounds more for my property.
Yeah.
So that is like, you know, it's their best investment ever, is to sign on to this agent who has the access to this technology.
And Simon, as the gaffer says there, ultimately, when you're putting that out there, we've actually built into the tool that the agent can go on and the click of one button send a report directly to the vendor that's branded for them. So the vendor can go on and see, okay, I've not had the result I wanted yet, but wow, they've sent this out, they've reached 8,000 people. 1,700 of them have actually been on looking at my particular property. I can see the effort that they're doing and see what's happening. I think this will work over the next couple of weeks, and it gives the vendor that comfort factor and makes them less jumpy and reduces the flight risk for the agent.
Understand. And just as I understand it, and tell me if this has changed, but my understanding is that whereas many agencies or other competitive things they'll charge margins, won't they, on the actual Facebook advertising itself? That's just completely separate, isn't it? You know, essentially, you know, whatever the price you get it down to there, they still pay Facebook advertising, and you're not taking a clip on top of that. Is that right?
Yeah, that's absolutely 100% correct.
And it's also extremely important for us, Simon, to be transparent. I think honesty and transparency is the future of all successful businesses. And I think that, you know, we need to live by what we're saying. So it's full insight in every pound spent. Yeah. No markups, none so whatever. You pay for the use of the technology, that's it.
Nice. Yeah, it's nice.
So that essentially means if the agents that are our clients and we're working with want to put gas in the tank and a few more pounds into the campaign, or they want to run a couple of extra campaigns, they're not frightened to do it because they think some of the money's coming to us. It's a really transparent way to do it and ensure that they are growing their business using AI to grow the business, as Christian said.
And in that way, it's like an all-you-can-eat. I mean, obviously, I'm going to take this back to food and restaurants. It's like an all-you-can-eat then, isn't it? Because actually, you're getting absolute best bang for your buck. You know, really double down on it if it's working for you. And as you said, don't feel you have to pull back because bloody hell, I've got to give CCT my clip.
And yeah, and it is exactly that. But all they need to do is use it to a sensible level. You know, we are giving them a high performance vehicle here.
Yeah.
If they're going to test drive it by driving it around the block, then they're not really going to see what it can do, right? So you need to take it out and stretch the legs for a bit and really get to see what it can do for you. And then when it can, you can evaluate properly.
I get that. And look, that's one of the first things we need to get across is, guys, don't think you can just come on board and try and use this for a month or something, a few weeks and everything else, and get the results. You, like all the decent advertising campaigns, this has to run for a series of months so that you can take out any vagaries of the sampling in there to make sure you've got a true ROI representation, haven't you?
That's correct. But at the same time, I just have to say this would also work in a short span. Okay. It will work even better in the long run, of course, because the more data we collect, the more, machine learning and AI is about getting the most amount of data within the system, and then it will be even more precise going forward. But it will, change their life from day one, to be honest. So
I was trying to get him to tie you in for a shorter period, but
no, Simon, it will work. It will work over a short period, as Christian said. I was merely pointing out the fact that if you spend £200 on one campaign in 5 days, and go, oh my God, this house hasn't sold yet, that's slightly different.
Yeah, no, you've got to give it. Okay, that makes sense. And then just jumping into this second campaign, and some of these ones are genuinely, they're outstanding to me. So the CCT campaigns overall are exposed to a 77% larger audience than on the major portals. So talk us through what that stat means, because on the face of it, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's just we worked with the clients. They were getting the reports directly from working both portals. So we're doing that. And they were getting the volume of people that were actually going onto that property page and engaging with it. And the ones that they were running a CCT campaign simultaneously had 77% more views than both of the others combined.
Yeah, amazing. This one probably blows that one out. So 49% of the people who bought a home after seeing the CCT campaign were not previously registered with another estate, with the estate agent. That is a game changer, isn't it? Because that means you're getting to a new audience that previously wasn't being tapped into.
Absolutely, and that's the mantra that Christian talked about making the home find the buyer. So getting that right message to the right person that should be interested in that particular property. And it's back to the example of perhaps they were looking in that area and just weren't at that exact moment in time. That wasn't coming up in the searches that they were having to do, but we've presented the property to them. And then once they've tracked them through the journey, they've seen that, almost half of the people hadn't actually been registered previously.
Amazing. And then just reiterating what the first case study did as well, there's been a reduction in the sales time in the market up to 34%. So again, that top end there, that's really impressive. Not least, obviously, how difficult it is, with stodgy pipelines and everything else at the moment. But then the last one as well. So 90% of vendors utilizing a CCT campaign to help market their home have successfully let or sold. And that's almost 25% better than the industry average. So that again, that's just about finding the right people where you weren't previously able to do it.
That's it. It's 25% better than the industry average, 21% better than the client was doing with previously when they weren't using CCT ads. So they could actually see that they were selling more properties and they were actually seeing them through to completion, which is fantastic and something that has really helped them using the CCT product when they're speaking to vendors. If you can say on average this is the other agents that you're talking to probably sell in this world, when we run these campaigns and when we use our fantastic expertise and amazing black books, we can help sell 90% of the properties that we list. And that's pretty impressive. That
is. So the key takeaways for me really: help the property find the right buyer, as you just spoke about so eloquently there, Gordon. Helping sell the properties faster, and obviously if you can do the holy part of that trinity, improve the commission received. All obviously ticks that any agent is going to be interested in. And
Absolutely.
as you guys have said, you're helpfully, it's a bit hard to give just a basic discount off it, because actually you've got, you know, you need to have a turnkey solution for many of these, but all you've obviously committed to is, look, you're going to look after our Kerfuffle members to make sure that they're going to get obviously a fantastic deal. And more importantly as well, you're happy to have a consultation, and it isn't just a demo, is it? It really is finding out about their businesses and finding out how you can help. You're willing to do that for them free of charge, of course, because you're seeing the long game in this.
Of course, absolutely, and we can give them help and recommendations and share some findings, some stats, some information that we know. You know, globally, as Christian said, one of the months we ran way over 1 million campaigns in one single month, so we've got great expertise of what really works, and we can share that with them to help them create a strategy that will ultimately deliver success and better ROI.
Excellent. That's really impressive. Well, look, obviously we're going to be talking to those agents as well, and hopefully getting them up on the website as reviews. So check back if it hasn't already gone live by the time this recording goes out. But I think, guys, that's really, really interesting. Would probably be interesting to actually on the next show probably have a chat with a few of the clients and get it straight from the horse's mouth. But
absolutely.
You know, for the moment, I think that's really, really interesting. It's clearly got to be on every agent's seriously on their agenda for this year. I'm guessing, you know, lockdowns have done many things, but if they haven't demonstrated the value of obviously solutions like yours, then you know, there's never going to be a time, is there?
Absolutely.
Excellent. All right, guys, thank you very much for joining us today, and I look forward to catching up with you soon.
Appreciate it. See you later, Simon.
Thank you, guys. Thanks very much.
All the best. Thanks again.